what serverless computing is and how we do serverless computing in AWS. And then we're going to learn about AWS Lambda. And then, just like previously, if you're going to stick with me, I'm going to give you a surprise. Day two. Let's begin. So, Amazon S3. What is Amazon S3? So, S3 is nothing but simple storage service. It's a storage for the internet. You can use Amazon S3 to store and retrieve any amount of data at any time from anywhere on the web. You can accomplish these tasks using the AWS Management Console, which is a simple and intuitive web surface. Let us discuss about the features of S3 storage in depth. Storage classes. So what are these storage classes? Amazon S3 offers a range of storage classes designed for different use cases. These include Amazon S3 Standard for general purpose storage of frequently accessed data. Bucket policies. Bucket policies provide centralized access control to buckets and objects based on a variety of conditions, include operations within the S3 bucket, resources, and requesters. AWS Identity and Access Management. You can use this AWS Identity and Access Management, or what they called IAM, to manage access to your S3 resources. Let's say, for example, you can use IAM within S3 to control the type of access you want to provide a user. Like if a user is trying to access the contents or resources within your bucket, you can start giving him a role or an access management to give him limited role to that bucket. Access control lists. You can control access to each of your buckets and objects inside the bucket using the access control list, or what we say ACL. Versioning. You can use versioning to keep multiple versions of an object in the same bucket. A best suited example would be GitHub, which allows you to keep multiple versions of your own code and the change in the codes. Operations. Operations are commands used for a user-friendly experience to allow anyone and everyone to easily access and configure the bucket. So now that we are done with the features, let's talk about the advantages of AWS S3. Amazon S3 is intentionally built with a minimal feature set that focuses on simplicity and robustness. So let's look at the first advantage, creating a bucket. So creating a bucket is nothing but creating and naming it that stores data. Buckets are the fundamental containers in Amazon S3 for data storage. Storing data. Store an infinite amount of data in a bucket. Upload as many objects as you like into an Amazon S3 bucket. Each object can contain up to 5 terabytes of data. Each object is stored and retrieved using a unique developer assigned key. Downloading data. Download your data or enable others to do so. Downloading your data anytime you like or allow others to do the same. Permissions. Permissions that are like granting or denying access to others who want to upload or download data into your S3 bucket. Authentication mechanisms can help keep data secure from unauthorized access. Standard interfaces. Use standard-based REST and SOAP interfaces designed to work on any internet development toolkit. Now let's look at some Amazon S3 concepts. A bucket. Like I said previously, a bucket is nothing but a container for objects stored inside the S3. Every object contained is in a bucket. Objects. Objects are the fundamental entities stored in Amazon S3. Objects consist of object data and metadata. The data portion is opaque to Amazon S3. The metadata is a set of name value pairs that describe the object. These include some default metadata, such as date last modified, and standard HTTP metadata, such as the content type. You can also specify custom metadata at the time the object is stored. What are keys? Keys is nothing but a unique identifier for an object within the bucket. Every object in the bucket has exactly one key. The combination of a bucket, key, and the version ID uniquely identifies each object inside the bucket. So you can think of Amazon S3 as a basic data map between bucket plus the key plus the version and the object itself. Every object in Amazon S3 can be uniquely addressed through the combination of a web service endpoint, bucket, name, key, and optionally, if you need a version. Regions. Like I said previously, you can choose the geographical AWS region where Amazon S3 will store the buckets that you create. You might choose a region to optimize latency, minimize costs, or address regulatory requirements. Objects stored in a region never leave the region unless you explicitly transfer them to another region. For example, objects that are stored in the Mumbai AWS region never leave it. Amazon S3's data consistency model. Amazon S3 provides strong read after write consistency for puts and delete functions of objects in your Amazon S3 bucket all around the AWS regions. This applies to both writes to new objects as well as the puts that overwrite existing objects and deletes. In addition, read operations on Amazon S3 Select, Amazon S3 Access Control List, and object tags are strongly consistent. And I know the surprise is early, but now I'm going to teach you how to create some buckets inside Amazon S3. So now, like we did previously, we first open a browser and then we type AWS console. We go to this website, okay? And if you were present for my previous workshop, you would have noticed how I taught you to guys to create an account in AWS. So I'm going to just skip that and I'm just going to log back in. I'm going to log in, okay? And I'm going to use my email ID. I'm going to use my password. Okay. So after you sign in, you see this AWS management console just like we saw it previously. We go to the search bar and we type S3. Over here you see S3, a storage in the cloud. So we click on it. Over here it says you don't have any bucket as I haven't created any bucket right now. So now I'm going to click on this create bucket and begin with creating a bucket. Bucket name should be unique and must not contain any spaces or uppercase letters as it's given over here. So now we're just going to give AWS workshop and the region can be anything. I'm just going to go with Mumbai because that's the closest one. And I'm just going to keep this to its default and I click on create bucket. That already exists. Okay. So now as you see over here, I've given the name of my bucket as AWS workshop 1.2 and it's created over here. It's given me the date and it's given me what kind of access I have to the bucket. So now I click on this and then I see I don't have any objects within this bucket. Now I'm going to upload some file and I'm going to show you how it is added. So I go to this and then you see over here that my file is uploaded. I mean, it's not uploaded yet, it's ready for uploading. So I click on this upload and then over here you've seen that it succeeded. So now if I click on that, It's going to give me a URL that will allow me to access the object that is inside my bucket with any this thing. So now it's showing access denied because I haven't given any access to it. So over here, if you come over here, it's given object owner. Yeah. So I go to this block public access over here. I disable this and then I save the this thing. I give confirm. So now over here, I've made my bucket public. So once again, I go to my objects. I click on this, take my URL. Okay. So I give read access over here. I save the changes. Okay. See? Blah. So the logo is there. So this URL, you take it and you paste it anywhere, anytime from any place. Of course, you should have an internet connection. So you paste this URL and you can view the objects inside the bucket if you have the access given, just like I tried right now. Okay, so let's get back to our work. So next off, we're going to learn about serverless on AWS. So what does serverless mean? You got that right. It means exactly the same. Serverless. Serverless is a way to describe the services, practices, and strategies that enable you to build more agile applications so you can innovate and respond to change faster. With serverless computing, infrastructure management tasks like capacity, provisioning, and patching are handled by AWS. So you can focus on only writing the code that serves your customers. Serverless services like AWS Lambda that we are going to talk about later come with an automatic scaling, built-in high availability, and pay for the value billing model. Lambda is nothing but an event-driven compute service that enables you to run code in response to events from over 150 natively integrated AWS and SaaS sources, all without managing any servers. So why serverless? Let's take a deep dive, shall we? First, serverless helps you move your idea to market much faster. By eliminating operational overhead, your teams can quickly release, get feedback, and iterate to get to the market faster. Lowering your costs with a pay for value billing model, you never pay for over provisioning and your resource utilization is optimized on your behalf. Adapt at scale. With technologies that automatically scale from zero to peak demands, you can adapt to customer needs faster than ever. Build better applications much more easier. Serverless applications are built in service integrations, so you can focus on building your applications instead of just configuring and wasting time on it. Now, like I said previously, AWS Lambda is a serverless compute service that lets you run code without provisioning or managing service. It creates workload-aware clustering scaling logic, maintaining event integrations, or managing runtimes. With Lambda, you can run code for virtually any type of applications or backend service, all with just zero administration. Just upload your code as a zip file or container image, and Lambda automatically and precisely allocates compute execution power and runs your code based on the incoming request or event for any scale of traffic. You can set up your code to automatically trigger from AWS services or directly from any web or mobile app. You can write Lambda functions in your favorite language like Node.js, Python, Go, Java, and many more, and use both serverless and container tools such as AWS SAM or Docker CLI to build, test, and deploy your functions. Not satisfied? Let me give you some more reasons to why you should be using Lambda services. First, you don't need any servers to manage. AWS Lambda automatically runs your code without you to require to provision or manage infrastructure. Just write the code, upload it to Lambda, either a zip or container image, and Lambda will take care of it for you. Continuous scaling. AWS Lambda automatically scales your application by running code in response to each event. Your code runs in parallel and processes each trigger individually, scaling precisely with the size of the workload, from a few requests per day to hundreds of thousands per second. Cost optimized with millisecond metering. With AWS Lambda, you only pay for the compute time you consume. So you're never paying for over provisioned infrastructure. You are charged for not a second, but a millisecond your code executes, and not the number and the number of time your code is triggered. With compute savings plan, you can also save additionally up to a 17%. Consistent performance at any scale. With AWS Lambda, you can optimize your code execution time by choosing the right memory size for your function. You can also keep your functions initialized and hyper ready to respond within double-digit millisecond by enabling provisioned concurrency. Okay, so I think I've given you much explanation on Lambda. So that's it for today's guys. And if you have any doubt on AWS, feel free to hop into our Discord server and pop up your question, and we'll be there to help you out. Thank you. Also, please fill the feedback form at feedback.alexa.srm.com.